Hey everybody, welcome back to This Day in History. It is September 7th, 2024, and as you know, it's not about the year, but it's about the magic of the day. We have quite a bit going on. A lot of entertainers' birthdays today, and just some other general stuff that's, it's a short one because it's only one page. So let's get started, shall we? Birthdays. The very first birthday is 1533. Elizabeth I, the Queen of England, her birthday was today. 1860, Grandma Moses. She was an American folk painter. She was born on this day, 1860. American director and author Elia Kazan was born in 1909. And here's one that kind of holds a um, special meaning in my heart, anyway. 1924, we see the birth of Daniel uh, Inouye. Inouye? Um, Interesting thing about Daniel, he's Japanese American. He was a U.S. Senator for Hawaii, um, Medal of Honor winner. He served in the 442nd Regiment Combat Team. It's also known as the Nisei Battalion, um, or the Nisei Regiment, rather. One of the two. Anyway, 442nd was comprised of, this is a World War II lesson here, as you know. Um, how we got involved in World War II was being attacked by the Japanese at Pearl Harbor. As a result of that, uh, it's kind of shameful, but I understand the logic behind it, but still, it was such a shameful act that, shame on the United States for doing this. Shame on FDR. But he basically rounds up anyone of Japanese American descent and puts them into um, concentration camps. Isn't the word? It's not, but it was. They were put in internment camps and they were fed bad food. They were mistreated. Everything that they had that was taken from them, their homes, their businesses, everything was stripped of them, all because they happen to be Japanese. Now, those few who decided that, and they even did this to World War I veterans, um, just a shameful act. Um, so those that were of fighting age, they were not allowed to join uh, the service to fight the Japanese. It just wasn't happening. They did when Japan when we when we declared war on Japan, Germany declared war on us. When we went to Europe, we put together, when I say we, the United States Army military had put together like Japanese regiments. And one of them was the 442nd. Now, if you look up the 442nd, they are the one unit that has had the most Purple Hearts, the most medals. They had something to prove. They fought the hardest. I mean, like, they went in there and they kicked the living crap out of the Germans, out of the Italians, anybody who was set before them. They did their duty, and they are the one unit that had the highest casualty rates because they were meat to the grinder. They did their credit solid. They were Americans, and so Daniel Inouye, not only did he serve his country um, during the war, he ended up becoming a Medal of Honor winner himself. But he served his country by being a senator. Um, he was a Democrat from Hawaii, and while I am not a Democrat, I respect the man for what he did. I respect him for who he was and the adversity that he had to overcome. And yet he still chose to fight for a country that would disavow him. So may he rest in peace. So moving right along, the next birthday is Sonny Rollins, who was an American musician, born in 1930. Buddy Holly, um, famous musician that was killed in a plane crash in the 50s. Um, Peggy Sue was his hit there. I didn't realize that he was born the same year my stepdad was, 1936. But it's his birthday was today. Mind you, every birthday today, they've all passed away. The last birthday is 1963. American rapper and musician Eazy-E. His birthday was today. He died of AIDS very young in life. So that's it for the birthdays. May they all rest in peace. 1812, Napoleon narrowly defeats the Russians under, here's a long name here. Mikhail Illarionovich, Illarionovich Kutuzov at the Battle of Borodino. Narrowly defeats, but I mean, Napoleon gets the victory over the Russians there. 1822, Dom Pedro I declared that Brazil is independent. 1860, the year that, so the same day that Grandma Moses was born, this guy, Giuseppe Garibaldi, he enters Naples, declares himself the dictator of the two Sicilies. 1876, the Younger Brothers, they were outlaws that were affiliated with the Jesse James gang, the James Brothers gang. So there was the Coles, which were cousins to the Youngers, and the James Brothers, and I think the James Brothers and the Younger Brothers may have been related as well, but I'm not sure about that. At any rate, the Youngers are captured on this day following an unsuccessful bank robbery. In 1901, the signing of the Boxer Protocol ended the Boxer Rebellion, and if you recall, the Boxer Rebellion was basically Chinese citizens were rallying up, and they wanted to get rid of foreigners, basically, and it was like they were trying to say, we don't care to have the English here, we don't care to have Americans here, we don't care to have whoever is here, we want to just boot them all out. And it became a armed revolt, and it was a bloodbath. It didn't go over well. But so it's on this day in 1901 that the protocols are put in place, and the hostilities have ended. 1921, we see the very first American or Miss America pageant. It began on this day. It was then known as something else. It wasn't Miss America, but it morphed into Miss America, and 16-year-old Margaret Gorman was the first winner of that. And that was 1921. 1963, Pro Football Hall of Fame opened in Canton, Ohio. The first inductees were Jim Thorpe and George Halas. 1979, speaking of sports, ESPN, the sports cable network, it debuted on TV for the very first time in 1979. 1996, American rapper, actor Tupac Shakur was fatally shot. However, he was shot on this day in 1996, but he would die 6 days later. 2005, Hosni Mubarak wins re-election amid low voter turnout and voting irregularities. He was, where was he? He was Egypt, I believe. So that was all during the time of the whole Muslim Brotherhood trying to, sweep across North Africa from Egypt to Morocco. They were just trying to sweep everything over. So he kind of kept the Muslim Brotherhood at bay, or that's what it was making it sound like. I always thought that Hosni was actually in league with them. I mean, maybe I'm mistaken, but who was in their way was Muammar Gaddafi. And in a few short days, we will talk about Muammar Gaddafi. He actually hindered the Muslim Brotherhood from expanding into Libya. So, he was that one stalwart. He was that holdout. So the event of the day is the year is 1191. It's the Battle of Arsuf. It starts Saladin attacks Richard the First. Now, Richard the First would be Richard the Lionheart. Richard the Lionheart is the king that is referred to in the Robin Hood stories. It's that Richard. So Saladin attacks Richard. Richard counterattacks that, later that evening, and he defeats him. The whole process, what it did is it delayed Richard. He was on his way to Jerusalem. He was trying to. It was part of the Crusades, to win back the Holy Land from the Muslims, and Jerusalem was hotly contested, from both sides. So he was marching on his way to Jerusalem at the time, and with Israel being where it is, and it's I'm sure there's port cities on the Mediterranean. I'm not sure. I don't know how feasible it was, but they literally marched through Europe instead of just taking taking a bunch of boats and just landing somewhere where they didn't have to march as far and take over there. Maybe it's possible that there was just no friendly ports that they could go to, and that was why they marched the way they did. I don't know. I wasn't there. So that is this day in history for September 7th. Tomorrow we will come back for September 8th. And the beauty of September 8th is that it is my cousin's birthday. So I will be giving her a shout out for that for sure. So be well, be blessed, take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.